Guys, so I know there was a lot of technical difficulties today, and so a lot of people's Wi-Fi kind of went out. So I just wanted to go through with you really quickly some of the problems that we had highlighted. On the back, when we took some notes, that picture should also be loaded for you to see. That way you can at least have the notes from today, okay? But let's just start kind of going through and simplifying these complex numbers, okay? All right, so remember that if the I is on the inside, or I'm sorry, if there's a negative on the inside, then you pull that out and make it an I, okay? Because I have done this problem a couple of times, I kind of was playing around with the numbers, but I know that 36 goes into 108, and so I can break that 108 down into a 36 times 3. Okay, and then I know the square root of 36 is 6, so I'm going to pull that out, and this answer becomes 6i root 3. Okay, I will say that normally we write our answers as a plus bi, but for whatever reason with radical signs, we tend to put the I in front of the radical sign. You can write it this way, but sometimes you can put it in here. And I learned them way back in the day this way, and so that's how I usually write them. Okay. All right, let's go do number 3. So number 3, this negative is on the outside, so it's not an I. So I just put my negative 1, if you want to call it that. Square root of 144 is 12 times. Here's my negative on the inside, so that does come out and become an I. And I know that the square root of 9 is 3. So now I'm just going to clean all of this up. Negative 12 times 3 is negative 36. So this becomes a negative 36i. Okay? Let me switch pens. That pencil is kind of being weird. All right, this is a minus sign right here. And so we're going to do this side first. Then we're going to simplify this side and see what can happen. Okay? All right, negative on the inside. I'm going to pull it out and make it an I. So I have 3 times I times. The square root of 4 is 2. So all of this becomes a 6i, and I'm going to subtract. This negative comes out, becomes an I. The square root of 49 is 7. So I'm doing 6i minus 7i, which is negative 1i, or just negative I. Okay. All right, let's go skip a couple and go down to number 10. Number 10, you need to be careful and make sure that you're doing 5 minus 2 and then 6i minus 5i. Some people like to put a negative 1 right here and distribute, and so that can work as well. So this becomes 5 plus 6i, and then minus 2, and then minus 5i, and then you can kind of clean it up. Okay, so 5 minus 2 becomes a 3. 6i minus 5i becomes a positive 1i, or just an I. So 3 plus I. Okay, let's go skip number 15. We're going to do it again. So we're just going to distribute and then combine some like terms. So when I distribute my 3 here, I'm going to get a 24 minus 15i. Distribute the negative 2, so I get negative 26. And then I get plus, positive, right, 14i. And then combine like terms. 24 minus 26 is negative 2. Negative 15 and a 14 become a negative I, or a negative 1i. Okay. All right, number 21 is a little on the hairy side, but we're going to take care of this squared business first. Okay, so let's go do this part first. So I know I have to square both of these, okay, and so I'm going to get I squared. The square root of 3 squared is just going to be a 3. Remember, I squared is going to be a negative 1, so all of this becomes a negative 3, right, because negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. All right, so now I can go put the rest of it in. So I have negative 5/3 I. Back in the day of fractions, right, that I is technically over 1, okay? And then I can either multiply straight across or I can simplify. So you have choices. You can just make it a positive 15i over 3 and reduce. 15 divided by 3 is 5i. Or we could have simplified before, and so like 3 and 3, right, those are going to cancel out, and the two negatives make a positive 5i. So either way you look at it. Okay? All right. And then let's go take care of number 27, and then I'll show you how to fill out kind of the triple part of it, the puzzle, so to speak, that is here. So number 26, be sure to look over that page of notes because there's an example really similar to it that will help you get through number 26. But number 27, you have to multiply by what's called a conjugate. Okay, it's a conjugate. And so it's basically the same thing, just the opposite sign in the middle. So it's like a difference of two squares kind of a deal. But we're going to multiply by 3 plus I. Okay, so I'm going to put these in parentheses because I'm going to have to FOIL. And since we are multiplying by 1, that goes in the numerator as well. And now it's just a matter of distributing and simplifying stuff. So I'm going to get a 30 plus 10i. In the denominator, I'm going to get 3 times 3 is 9. When I do my outside and inside, they end up canceling out. That is the beauty of the conjugate part of it, okay? So I don't even have to write them down. And then I'm going to get a minus I squared, okay? Remember remember I squared is -1, so this denominator is going to be a 9 minus -1, which is really 10, okay? And so this is 30 plus 10i divided by 10. And if I reduce everything and I divide everything by 10, I should get, and I apologize, I'm out of space. I'm just going to write this over here. I should get 3 plus I for my final answers. I'm dividing everything by 10. Okay? All right, here's how the complex triples part of it works. Okay? There are 30 total questions, but there are 10 triples. So that means that there are going to be 3 problem numbers that have the exact same answer. Okay, that's what that means. So if I look at the answers that we had before, I'm looking for matches. Oh, I see one. I see one right here. Here's a 3 plus I, and we just got that back here on number 27. So on that chart, I'm going to write problem number 10 and problem number 27. And there should be one more somewhere in this, in these problems that I do. There should be one more, but that answer was 3 plus I. Okay? And so that's what you're going to do. So as soon as you get finished, you're going to look. Again, this is so that you can check your answers and make sure that you're doing them right. You know what I mean? So again, there should be 3 problems that all have the same answers. And that's just a good way for you to check to make sure that you're doing things right. Okay? Let me know if you guys have more questions, okay?